What's going on? This is Andre from AndreSanders.net. Where does control really begin with? Well, John Wooden mentioned in his book, Coach Wooden's Leadership Game Plan for Success, as far as control of your organization begins with control of yourself. Be disciplined. And this is true. He also mentioned as well, like the next line right now in the middle of this book that he came up with years ago, getting to the top even once is most difficult. Staying there is arduous, if I'm pronouncing that correctly. But it really does come down to just having the discipline, being persistent with it. There was another good point also later on in the section when it comes to self-control, where it states self-control in little things becomes self-control in big things. And if you wonder why you see a lot of success stories, wherever it is, whatever field it is, it really is because people chose to be successful in the little things. They chose just to really have delayed gratification other than wanted the instant gratification. It's something that also I picked up on playing a lot of his game, cash flow game online, Robert Kiyosaki's game, because it helps teach someone as far as having delayed gratification over instant gratification. And you can apply that in anything in life as well. You see this a lot in sports. We see some of the top teams in professional sports, as far as always seem to be like a championship game, or maybe making a championship run throughout the playoffs. It's because they chose just to be disciplined with little things. They might not have, as far as the talent, the big names that some people or the media would be like ooh and on about. But guess what? Those guys do a lot of the little things day in, day out. And it also comes down to what they do outside of practice, on top of what they do in practice. Something that John Wooden mentioned as well when he coached many of his teams at UCLA, and even before he was at UCLA, he was coaching the high school teams as well. As far as he mentioned that it's important what you do after practice, to the next practice, as far as that time spent, other than just going about partying or hanging out or whatever. It comes down to that, having control over that, having control over your emotions. People unfortunately get caught up in the emotions, temper, go crazy or whatever. And then they'll look back at it after making a poor decision and be like, oh man, I should not have done that. This comes down to this as self-discipline. But on top of that, once you can, like they said, like he mentioned earlier, if you can have control over just little things, then having control over big things really isn't a problem. But now, of course, it takes time. But why not just choose to just make that decision? So something I just want to leave you with, self-explanatory, but at the same time, are we actually applying it in our everyday lives? So if you got value for what we shared here, I'd love to read comments below. I'd like to see this video. That being said, I will see you at next video.